We are here today at William J. Manzo Memorial Park in Titusville to plant seagrass to better understand seagrass restoration in the Indian River Lagoon. Seagrass has been on the decline in the lagoon over the past decade or so due to excess nutrients that have entered our waters, which fuel algal blooms that shade the light that seagrasses need to survive. And so we're hoping with this project, in monitoring it over a 2-year period, to help to understand methods that might best support future restoration efforts.
This project is an experimental design that was put together by Brevard County. We Aquatech Eco Consultants are out here executing that experimental design for them. And what they're doing is they're testing out some different seagrass transplanting methods. Throughout the site, we have different planting plots in which we're employing different planting methods and then also different protections for some of those planting units. We've got 3 different planting units that we're using here. One of them is our 9-inch peat pots. So those have a specific number of shoots of our shoal grass inside of them. And then we also have a smaller version of that, which is called a seagrass plug, which has a lower shoot density, but of the same species of seagrass. And then our 3rd and final planting unit is going to be a staple unit. So those are also a very specific number of shoots that are fastened onto a staple in order to help secure that planting unit with the roots under the sediment surface and the shoots coming up out of the surface. So with the enclosures, we're trying out a couple of different methods to protect some of the planting units from herbivory. We've got one which is called the herbivory exclusion device, which is essentially a closed top cage that's going to be placed over top of the units. And then we've also got some exclusion fencing, which will rise up above the water level and provide similar protection for the planting units as well. We're also trying out some planting units that don't have any protections in place just to see how those fare.
We will be monitoring the project by deploying sensors that look at dissolved oxygen, light, the temperature, the salinity of the water, all these things that impact seagrass growth and survival so that we know how the response might be tied to our environment. And then we'll also be monitoring the grass itself to see how it's growing and spreading over the next couple of years.
We're going to be trying out this same experimental design in 2 different locations in the Indian River Lagoon. This first one's going to be happening right here in Titusville, Florida, and then the second one will be occurring in Melbourne Beach, Florida.
Seagrass is actually the base of our food chain here in the Indian River Lagoon. It is our primary producer. It's one of our key foundation species. So without the seagrass, things like manatees, turtles don't have the food that they need to grow and thrive here in the Indian River Lagoon. Seagrass is also a nursery ground for many of our important recreational and sport fisheries. It's a place where a lot of different types of invertebrates and vertebrates grow and transfer back and forth to neighboring systems like oyster reefs. And when they're large meadows, can attenuate waves and they help protect our shorelines. So they serve many, many purposes when we have those nice, robust, healthy seagrasses, and they can sequester or recycle nutrients and carbon, just like the rainforest. This project is being made possible by a number of grants. One is in partnership with the Brevard County Tourism and Development Council grant program. One was through the Florida Department of Environmental Protection Resiliency grants, and then we have match coming from the Save Our Indian River Lagoon program.
In the last decade, we've seen a decline in seagrass in the lagoon, mainly from algae blooms that block the sunlight that they need to survive. It's important to reduce the excess nutrients that are feeding the algae, and we can do this by tackling the sources of that pollution. Things like reducing the contributions to stormwater by doing simple things like keeping our grass clippings off of our driveways and roadways, by reducing or eliminating the use of fertilizer, picking up our pet waste, or making sure we maintain our cars properly so they're not leaking oil and other fluids onto the roadways that wash down into our lagoon.